right? Well, a funny thing happened. The guy actually won, and he won by a massive number of votes. He won walking away with it, and now he gets to lead. And now the tough part happens, where guys like Javier Milei, who made a bunch of promises and had a bunch of like big time theatrics on the campaign trail, has to actually, well, perform. Another thing that the guy did was go through a whiteboard talking about how he's going to fire governing officials. This was probably actually my favorite antic from the campaign. Watch this.
Turismo y deporte, afuera. Ministerio de Cultura, afuera. Ministerio de Ambiente y Desarrollo Sostenible, afuera. Ministerio de las Mujeres y Género y Diversidad, afuera. Ministerio de Obras Públicas, afuera. Aunque te resistas. Ministerio de Ciencia y Tecnología e Innovación, afuera. Ministerio de Trabajo, Empleo y Seguridad Social, afuera. Ministerio de Educación, Adoctrinamiento, afuera. Ministerio de Transporte, afuera. Ministerio de Salud, afuera. Ministerio de Desarrollo Social, afuera. Se acabó el curro de la política. ¡Viva la libertad, carajo!
What's going on, everyone? Socialism here today. I want to talk about Javier Milei, and after 100 brutal days, he has markets believing. So, as you follow from the intro, Javier Milei is a libertarian economist that has become president of Argentina. This man flies commercial. He's very beloved by the people, and I believe he is doing a very great job. And he's highlighting, in reality, the results of government. He exposed the business of politics. The business of politics has kind of went away from the fact of, hey, we want to provide solutions for the welfare of the people, to becoming, hey, we want to create justifications to expand our own power and influence and control over the populace. Because as you saw from the intro, you saw how unnecessary a lot of the things that the government has been essentially creating jobs for itself. And some of the things they're like, you need a minister of gender ideology, gender identity, I forgot, social work, whatever. And it makes no complete sense. And this is why I'm a big fan of limited government. That, hey, government has a specific limits to where it should operate in. And if it becomes too big, it should signal to the people that, hey, the government's becoming too efficient. The government's poking into our affairs too much. Because last time I checked, nothing good has ever come from the government. All right. And conservatives will believe that government could be used for good, but only in specific and very limited circumstances does the state make sense as a solution. Progressives who think the state can solve all their problems has not even read a history book. I think most people who are progressive have not read a history book. This is just my thoughts, right? Because I've read a lot of books based on history, and I keep finding a thread of how socialism, or how I like to frame it, centralized power has always caused corruption, tyranny, authoritarianism, totalitarianism, and destruction to the welfare of the country, of its people. Because the people in power who have control over this centralized unity, it only takes one bad person to get in and destroy and wreck the entire country. And that is more often than not the case. Because in history, it has shown that it is very rare that good men come into positions of power. It's very often that bad people get into positions of power, and often they destroy everything that good people has worked to build. And this is what I think Javier Milei has shown. And I want to show you why Argentinians voted this man in, because you heard many people on the left mad over this dude. They're calling him the Argentinian Trump, because they're scared of radical change. They don't want to, and it's the same thing with El Salvador. They're mad about how tough on crime that El Salvador is going on, but the results, you can't argue with the results. But the leftists do argue with results, because at the end of the day, they don't care about the welfare of the people. They don't care about bettering people's lives. All they really care about is justifying their control and power over the populace. And before I go into more on Javier Milei and more on the article about how his chainsaw strategy has been giving a fruitful and productive result to Argentina, I want to go with this clip from Patrick Bet David talking about the history of Argentina and why welfare, the welfare state, and using this, how the state positioned itself as, oh, we're trying to do it for the betterment of the people, always leads to socialism, and dictatorship. Let's take a look.
Get into the history of what's going on and what some of the solutions are and how high their inflation hit and what their budget looks like and the history of what they're trying to do to go to dollarization with this new candidate. I want to first read you 3 quotes from people on what they said with welfare state and what it leads to. The first one is from a president, Ronald Reagan. He said, welfare's purpose should be to eliminate, as far as possible, the need for its own existence. Meaning, here's welfare so we can get rid of people needing welfare. Here's what von Mises said about welfare. The welfare state is merely a method for transforming the market economy step by step into socialism, which means countries that are coming out with welfare, they eventually want to turn this country into a socialistic society. And last but not least, Ayn Rand said, the difference between a welfare state and a totalitarian state is a matter of time, meaning eventually it's going to be a totalitarian state. Again, you may be watching the same pattern. I don't live in Argentina. Why should I care about Argentina? Because the edge that you have, the biggest advantage you have is to study case studies. There's smart and then there's wise. We can be smart and have to go through the problem ourselves and fix it. That's what smart people do. But wisdom is to study other people's mistakes like Argentina so it doesn't happen in your country, especially if you live in America. So let's take a look at Argentina. 100 years ago, Argentina was one of the world's most prosperous nations. A military coup in 1930 suspended the 1853 Constitution, modeled after the U.S. Constitution. This created a fascist environment that was hostile towards businesses. General Juan Perón, which, by the way, you're going to hear that name all the time. And the last, I think, 20 presidents they've had, 16 of them have been Peronists, is what they'll call it. That guy's a Peronist, meaning he's part of the lineage and thinking of Perón. This guy who ruled from 1946 through 1955, and again briefly in 73, 74, he modeled his ideology after Benito Mussolini from Italy, who was a fascist. Prior to 1930, Argentina was amongst the top 10 richest nations per capita. Today, more than 4 in 10 Argentinians live in poverty.
You see the angle I've been getting at? And this is something I always spoke about, how socialism don't create prosperity. Socialists can't create anything. All socialists are good at for is looting and stealing from other people. That's it. If you look at history, every self-proclaimed socialist, because every time I say, hey, socialism is bad, this is the destruction that socialism provided, look at the poverty that socialism has caused. Look at Venezuela, was one of the richest countries in Latin America, and they became socialist with, I think his name is, always forget his name, Hugo Chavez, that's not him. I forgot the guy's name, but someone in the comment section will let me know. He came in as a socialist, wrecked the country. Country's poor. No business want to do business there because they took the fascist model. Oh, the business will work at the expense of the state. Oh, CEO of this company, you said something against me, I fire you. That's socialism. Because at the end of the day, progressives are never satisfied. Look at progressives right now. Progressives are complaining more about racial injustice, criminal injustice, all this dumb stuff because they don't have equal outcomes. And that's what socialism is. That's the false promise of socialism. They're wishing for equal outcomes. That's the promise. This is why when people say they're socialists, that's what they're really vying for. Equal outcome. But they don't highlight, oh, are you doing equal actions? Are you doing equal results? Are you making equal decisions? They don't focus on that. They just focus on equal outcome. We all should be in the same starting point. Because I don't want to be jealous of you. I don't want to be envious for you. If you pillage your farm, you take care of your farm, you wake up every day, you wake up early in the morning when the chickens are crowing in the morning, and I decide to stay in my room and go to sleep until noon at night. And then when harvest come, you got a plentiful harvest and I got nothing or barely anything on there. And now I'm jealous of you because, oh my God, he gets to eat well. Oh, it's because he had good soil. No, it's because he worked on his field. He took care of his field and it gave him the fruits of his labor. While you decided not to do anything, while you decided to stay in your room and chill because you believe that, oh, being fed food is a right. But now we live in a first world country. Now everyone's feeling entitled to a standard living. Oh, we all should have a house. Oh, we shouldn't be starving for food. Oh, they should just give us stuff for free. No, it's been like this since the beginning of human time. And socialists, this is how they get their foot in the door. They sell this beautiful dream of what life could be, this utopia. And in my life, and this is something religion, the Bible has really enforced in my idea, in my I guess rationalization or my rational mind, that utopia is impossible for human beings to achieve, because if all humans were angels, we wouldn't need a government in the first place. Equating that socialism can never work. relying on human beings. So we have to put what? Checks and balances against each other. We have to hold each other accountable. We have to keep each other honest. And socialism doesn't have mechanisms to do that. But I digress. I know I went on a long tangent there. We're generally very satisfied, declared President Javier Milei of Argentina on local news after inflation in February fell by more than expected to 13%. That, however, is the monthly figure. Over the past year, it has amounted to 276%, the highest in the world. Inflation of just 8% annually has rattled politics in richer countries. That Mr. Milei had cause to celebrate 13% monthly inflation shows the scale of the economic mess he inherited and how much he has left to do to fix it. Mr. Milei is an irascible outsider and is self-described anarchical capitalist. Campaigned while banishing a chainsaw and promising to slash spending on December 10th, he took over a bloated state running vast budget deficits and financed by printing money. Inflation was rampant. And this is what the path that America is going to right now. And I believe those who do not learn from history are doomed to repeat it, because there's this idea, and I think it's something that every generation does, every new generation does. Like, young kids say, I'll never be like my mom. I'll never be like my dad. And then when they get into their positions like their mom and their father, they're like, damn, I see why dad did this. Damn, I see why mom said that. Because you finally got to experience the reality of your ideas. Because this is how socialism is so popular with the youth, is because it's so theoretical. But when it's time to test it in reality, you get the results of it. Oh, you like socialism? Oh, you like redistribution of wealth? Okay, how about we redistribute your grade point average across the class so everyone passes? Oh, you don't like that, do you? Ask any college student who's a socialist, put that proposition in front of them, they'll indefinitely say no. And then they wonder, and then they're gonna say, oh, the rich are so greedy. No, the rich are not. The rich pay almost 70% of the taxes in this country. They pay way more. They're overrepresented in paying taxes than you are, but you want to demand more money out of them. Imagine demanding more money out of people who already pay 70% of the tab. You'll be looked at as what? Greedy. This is why socialism don't work. Because the people who provide the most value to society, who's actually keeping society running, you create a negative incentive for them not to do anything. You incentivize laziness. Here's a meme for you guys. Do you support the new bill? What it's about? Well, it gives the government power to no. Because at the end of the day, nothing good could come from the government. Milei has kept his promise, and Milei is to cut 70,000 state jobs. This is something Vivek wanted to do. Bolstering of his chainsaw austerity. Government plans to fire 70,000 government employees. Milei delivers remarks as a business event in Buenos Aires. And I believe Vivek wanted to do this. I believe Trump should do the same thing. You're fired. You know how Milei has afuera. Trump got, you're fired. That's it. Just say, hey, 70,000 you fired. And it ain't even gonna hurt it's not even gonna hurt the economy, because I believe government jobs only make up maybe 10% at most of the jobs in the market. So we won't even feel it. It won't even be a blip. It won't even cause a recession. Because we need to cut the government bloat. Every year, the federal registry increased by I don't know how many X amount. Someone in the comment section let me know. It's getting ridiculous. We add $1 trillion. What they say, every 100 days we add $1 trillion to our deficit. When we could easily blow up like Argentina. The only thing that's saving us is the world reserve currency. That our dollar is the world reserve currency. The minute the world stop respecting the world reserve, the U.S. dollar as the world reserve currency, we're on our way to end up just like Argentina. This is why I always say, like, the socialism is not even a new idea. It's time to come up with something new, bro. Like, end of the day, socialism ain't it. Socialism it's wrought with problems. It doesn't have any. It's not a durable idea. It doesn't have any mechanisms to defend against corruption, to prevent bad actors from achieving power. Like, at least with capitalism, if someone has a monopoly, it's usually because they're providing more value than the cost or the negatives of them becoming a monopoly. Usually, and if it becomes too bad, competition starts spreading up to take the monopoly. It's pretty much, I will say, capitalism is rooted in natural law, while socialism isn't. Socialism is rooted in authoritarianism in all its forms. Democratic, I don't care, none of it. The only difference between socialism and democratic socialism is you vote in your tyranny, your dictator. That's it. You pretty much, that's Putin. Putin is an example of a democratic socialist. Tell me I'm lying. He gets voted in. You may not like how he gets voted in, but the Democrat Party essentially is doing the same thing here in the United States by running election interference, by making Trump fight two battles, his legal battles, and then he has to find money to campaign against Biden, making it hard for him to put his message out there, essentially giving Biden an advantage, right? Democrats are bragging about how much money Biden has raised, ignoring the fact that Trump got legal disputes he has to put in who are sent by what? His political opponents. Now, if this wasn't a political attack, as someone who thinks it is a political attack by the Democratic Party, the Democrats, if they was looking for justice, they would have done it in 2021, 2022, 2023. No, they waited all the way to 2024 to hit him with all this stuff because they wanted to hurt him in the election. This is why I say it's politicized justice. Tell me I'm lying. I'm waiting for it in the comment section. Socialists are nothing but looters. Socialists are nothing but entitled, lazy people who want to benefit off the labor of someone else. A socialist is like a slave master who wants a slave. Socialism is slavery. And are there any socialists or self-proclaimed socialists to debate me on that? Because that's essentially what it is. You feel entitled to someone else's labor to do something for your benefit without them getting something that they perceive as an equitable cost or benefit. Hey, I want to get paid $500 an hour to do this service. I don't think your service is worth $500. Okay, how about $300? Okay, I could do $300. Okay, and then you both exchange value for, you get his product, you get his service, and then he gets your resource. Whether that be time, whether that be money, whether that be stock investments, whatever you guys decided to negotiate in. But with socialism, it is, you pillage the roles, you do the work I need you to do for all our benefits. But really, it's for your benefit because you're not really working. You're just like, okay, now I'm going to go sleep in the back while he go piles the roads. And then when the guy who's doing the roads realizes that everyone's just laying down and chilling, he's like, all right, fuck it, I'm going to chill too. And then the roads don't get done. Everyone's like, yo, what happened to the roads? Who was supposed to do the roads? Everyone says, I'm not supposed to do the roads. And then the person with the power will say, do the roads or else. And then you have to force people to do their labor against their own will. That's inevitably what happens with socialism. It happens slowly, but it'll get there. That's the problem with socialism. This is why socialism is tyranny. This is why socialism is slavery. Because it has to use force to compel someone to do something against their will. That is socialism. But, I digress. Let me know your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Do you believe that Javier Milei is doing a great job? And I think is serving as an example of what happens when you try to cut government and you actually provide a limited government in a limited view, in a limited lane. That's when government is at its most productive. And do you believe that Javier Milei and everything he's doing is kind of exposing the business of politics today and around the world, that it seemed like it's a big cabal to justify government spending, bankrupting countries at the benefit of a small, select group of people? I would like to hear your thoughts about it in the comment section below. Don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. I really do appreciate you guys watching to the end of the video. And I'll catch you guys on the next one. Peace.